Hello and welcome to UZREPORT.NEWS, and I'm Bahram Gaffarov with the latest news. We have learned about the dream of a man to fly like a bird from rock paintings that have come down to us, as well as stories about airplane carpets and flying chariots. But despite the fact that over time such a dream turned into reality, the process of flying did not become less magical. Uzbekistan acquired such a chance to rise to the sky and fly exactly 28 years ago. It was on January 28, 1992, when the national airline of Uzbekistan was established.
So, where can we fly? The Uzbekistan Airways flight map is expanded with new routes every year. Today, airlines aircraft regularly fly to more than 60 destinations in Europe, Asia, America and operate charter flights to all continents of the globe. As for passenger comfort, innovative solutions implemented by the national airline made it possible to book and purchase air tickets on the airline's website and through its mobile app using Visa, Uzcard, MasterCard and order special meals on board, which are recognized as the most delicious. This is confirmed by the ranking compiled by Service of Passengers. You can also pre-book the most convenient place for yourself and use the internet during the flight. For Uzbekistan Airways, previous years were rich in pleasant events. 2018 was marked by a significant increase in production indicators. More than 21,000 flights were performed, and the airline's passenger traffic exceeded 3 million people for the first time. The airline joined the Association of Independent Tour Operators in the UK, topped the punctuality rating among air carriers in the CIS and abroad, and the team of flight attendants won the international forum Sky Service 2018. It's also worth to note the security, which has always been a priority for Uzbekistan Airways. This is why the airline is dynamically expanding its fleet and acquiring aircraft from leading manufacturers Boeing and Airbus. In February 2020, the sixth Boeing 787 Dreamliner is expected to be delivered, with the receipt of which Uzbekistan will become a leading operator of this type of aircraft in the CIS.
The situation in the airline sector seems great, but President Shavkat Mirziyoyev does not share the above-mentioned view. During a meeting held yesterday, he criticized the transport and transit potential of our country, which according to him is lagging behind. Mirziyoyev also underlined a number of shortcomings in the field of road and public transport.
President Shavkat Mirziyoyev held a meeting on January 28 to discuss the transport system. The transport and transit potential of our country is still lacking, the head of our state said. According to the international experts, the transit potential of Uzbekistan can be increased from current 7 million to 16 million tons, and through implementation of regional projects up to 23 million tons by 2030. In the World Bank Logistics Ranking, Uzbekistan placed 99th among 163 countries and 120th in terms of ease of international transportation. Due to lack of an optimal tariff policy, the existing opportunities for attracting transit cargo flows and increasing the competitiveness of domestic products in the foreign market are poorly designed. Mirziyoyev noted that complete revision of transit policy as the most important task. The state of civil aviation has also been criticized. Reforms in this area are stalled due to the fact that joint stock companies, Uzbekistan Airways and Uzbekistan Airports, organized on the base of international air carrier, have not yet established their activities as independent organizations. In addition, last year, 4 airports in the country introduced open sky mode with the introduction of fifth freedom of airspace. However, no foreign airlines were involved so far. This situation causes reasonable complaints among passengers, as a result of which they prefer to use the services of foreign air carriers. In addition to air travel, Mirziyoyev noted a number of shortcomings in the field of road and public transport. He pointed to the need of open tenders for route maintenance, revision of tariffs and procedures for public passenger transport, and digitalization of spheres with a goal to provide convenient and high-quality transport services to the population. On the same day, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev held a meeting on the development of tourism for the promotion of physical culture and sports. Today, the global tourism market is estimated at some $9 trillion. Every 10th person employed in the world is engaged in this field. According to research, tourists prefer to visit those countries where the flight time does not exceed 5 hours. Around our country, in this radius, there are around 60 states and a population of 3 billion people. Of these, almost 360 million people travel annually. This is a huge tourism market. Last year, 6.7 million tourists visited Uzbekistan. More than 10 authoritative foreign media have recognized our country as one of the most attractive tourist destinations. This year, Uzbekistan plans to raise the flow of foreign tourists to 7.5 million, up to 10 million in 2022 and up to 12 million in 2025. If everything goes well, experts of tourist tourist services is expected to reach, if everything goes well, export of tourist services is expected to reach $1.6 billion this year and up to $3 billion over the next 5 years. The president instructed to increase the number of hotels to 1.7 thousand this year and to 3,000 over the next 5 years. The number of family guest houses set to reach 2,000. Some 30,000 people will be engaged in the tourism sector every year. The State Committee for Tourism Development and Ministry of Culture have been instructed to increase the number of objects included in tourist routes to 800 this year and to 2.5 thousand by 2025. Last year, foreign film companies made 6 films worth $1.6 million in our country. The meeting noted that if Uzbekistan cover a part of crew cost, foreign companies will be able to give a great impetus to the development of cultural tourism and will promote the image of our country in the international arena. The national agency Uzbekino was given instructions to develop the cooperation with foreign film companies, introduce mechanisms for organizing filming in our country. The meeting also discussed the development of physical culture and sports. The current goal is to build 269 football fields, volleyballs, basketball, badminton courts, 170 halls for boxing, courage, fitness and gymnastics, and 32 tennis courts this year. The total number of people who regularly engage in physical culture and sports should be increased to 18% this year and 30% by 2025. At least 30% of children and young people aged 7 to 30 will be involved in the mass sports in the coming years.
The death toll as a result of epidemic has surpassed 100 people in China. The situation alarming not only for China but also for Uzbekistan. In Wuhan, the city where the virus got spread, 30 of our compatriots are undergoing education. A lot of information has spread on the social network that students cannot leave the city. There are even rumors that they are difficult to contact. To clarify the situation, we have contacted one of our students via WeChat.
Hello, my name is Abror. I'm a student of Wuhan University. I live in city of Wuhan. I walk outside for one day. I walk outside for 6 or 7 minutes. And I always wear a mask outside. And situation is outside like there's some cars, some people, but the public transportation is closed, like buses and subway stations. So for now in Wuhan, it's maybe a little bit quiet, but we can see outside there are some people also walking by. And our embassy of Uzbekistan also created a group in WeChat so we can connect with them if we need any help. And there is also notes by them that we shouldn't go outside and we have to care about ourselves.
In the meantime, Uzbek ambassador in China urges citizens not to panic and the situation is under control. We will follow the situation and inform you about any changes. In accordance with the decree of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, starting on October 1st this year, the state will begin a phased implementation of the system of international purchases in the grain market. This will prevent sharp fluctuations in the prices, as well as ensure uninterrupted supply of grain products to the population. Starting from the 2021 harvest, it's planned to gradually reduce the volume of state orders for cereals, including the introduction of mechanisms that ensure the free competition in the purchase and sale of grain crops. Chairperson of the Senate of Oli Majlis, Tanzila Narbayeva, met with Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Timothy Tollett. Tollett congratulated Chairperson on her election to the post and wished her success in the further activities. Further cooperation was also discussed.
The parties noted the importance of cooperation between legislative bodies of the two countries. Timothy Tollett focused on upcoming joint activities. In particular, the 25th meeting of Uzbekistan British Council on Trade and Industry will be held this year. Tanzila Narbayeva noted the importance of strengthening economic relations. There are 389 UK businesses operating in Uzbekistan today, but this number has a potential to go up. The export of Uzbek products to England should also be increased. As for the cultural cooperation, the British Council provides great assistance in learning English. The parties expressed their readiness to support cooperation and agreed to implement joint projects to strengthen the capacity of Parliament.
President Shavkat Mirziyoyev has recently signed a decree on measures to radically improve the activities of the State Customs Service. To implement the provisions of this document, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Benelux countries, Dilyor Hakimov, visited the headquarters of the World Customs Organization, where he met with the Secretary General Kunio Mikuria.
Currently, 182 countries are members of World Customs Organization, which controls about 98% of international trade. Uzbekistan joined the convention, establishing the Customs Cooperation Council on July 28 in 1992, and since then has participated in activities of World Customs Organization. The country is also included in more than 20 international conventions on customs issues. The Secretary General of World Customs Organization, Kunio Mikuria, visited Uzbekistan twice during 2019 in March and November last year, expressing gratitude to head of Uzbek diplomatic mission for assistance in organizing these two visits. The WCO Secretary General stressed that he had noticed major changes in political sphere as well as regional interaction between Uzbekistan and neighboring countries.
Greetings from Brussels. Well, today is a special day for your country because His Excellency the President has made a big speech to the Parliament. But at the same time, today is International Customs Day. So there is a good synergy between us. Well, Mr. President has talked about science, enlightenment, and digital economy development. And precisely that is what WCO is pursuing with customs reform. Because customs should provide the basis for economic development, stability, prosperity. And for that reason, we need to be really knowledge-based, science-based, and people should be enlightened. So this is why we provide more exposure to customs officers in Uzbekistan. And of course, we are living in the era of digital economy. Therefore, we have to adapt ourselves to that new era of technological development. With this in mind, today we mark that well, we can continue and even enhance our cooperation between Uzbekistan and the WCO. So I really appreciate the friendship shown by Uzbek people and Uzbek embassy here in Brussels. Thank you very much.
Before, in order to make a small Hajj, people had to wait for their turn. Some even looked for other alternative ways to ziyarat tourism. As a result of the changes, the quota for determining the number of pilgrims has been cancelled over the past 2 years. Currently, there are 14 flights a week on Tashkent-Jeddah-Tashkent route. From February, their number is set to increase to 16.
Starting from 2nd February, Uzbekistan Airways plans to introduce 2 additional flights on the Tashkent-Jeddah-Tashkent route. Flights will be operated on Thursdays and Sundays. Our creative team met another group of pilgrims at the Tashkent International Airport. Up to 245 of our citizens arrive on each flight. All passengers are satisfied with the created facilities. The conditions are very good. We were very well received. Let our sky be always peaceful. Well-being to our families. This year's Hajj season is expected to last until the summer.
The Ministry of Energy of Uzbekistan held a meeting with delegation of Russian Gazprom Bank, headed by Deputy Chairman of the Board, Alexei Matiev. The press service of the ministry said the total amount of investment injected into the industry today comprises about $900 million. Among the implemented investment projects, we can underline the production of hydrocarbons, construction of GTL plants, as well as the expansion of production capacities at Shurtan Gas Chemical Complex. Representatives of Gazprom expressed interest in expanding partnership dialogue by financing other investment projects, including construction of gas chemical complex in Narbayeva region of Uzbekistan. Tajikistan increased imports of natural gas from Uzbekistan last year by 2.6 times and intends to further increase the volume of gas purchased this year. A top manager of the gas distribution company, Tajik Transgas, said yesterday. In 2019, 140 million cubic meters of natural gas were purchased from Uzbekistan in the amount of $17.7 million. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, deputy head of Tajik Transgas, told reporters on Tuesday. In 2018, Tajikistan imported 54.6 million cubic meters of gas worth $6.9 million. Most of the gas imported from Uzbekistan goes to the needs of Tajik Aluminium Company plant, as well as the Dushanbe TPP-1. The delegation of the International Cotton Campaign Coalition set to arrive in Uzbekistan today, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uzbekistan reported. According to the Embassy of Uzbekistan in the United States, the Cotton Campaign delegation will include representatives of non-governmental human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch, Solidarity Center, Uzbek German Forum, and the Monitoring Mission on Labor Rights in Central Asia. Members of the coalition will meet with the leadership of Ministries of Labor, Agriculture, Justice, Investment and Foreign Trade of Uzbekistan, the Association Uztextilprom and Confederation of Employees of Uzbekistan and Federation of Trade Unions. And what's going to be discussed? It's expected that these meetings will discuss the results of 2019 cotton harvest and the effectiveness of measures taken to prevent the use of forced labor and the implementation of roadmaps aimed at eliminating factors that contribute to the forced labor, as well as increased interaction with civil society in this area.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said 1,000 no's on Tuesday to the Mid-East peace plan announced by U.S. President Donald Trump. After the nonsense that we heard today, we say 1,000 times no, no, no to the deal of the century, Abbas said at a news conference in the West Bank city of Ramallah. In addition, the head of state mentioned that the only way to peace lies through recognition of a Palestinian state within the 1967's borders. Marches have flooded the streets in Ankara and Istanbul, venting their rage over the deal of the century. The Australian government is moving to evacuate its citizens from the Wuhan as a result of the deadly new virus, Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced on Wednesday. Morrison told reporters in Canberra the priorities will be given to those who are isolated and vulnerable, such as young people and the elderly. Those evacuated will be taken to the remote Christmas Island for quarantine, Morrison said. There are currently 5 cases of the new virus in Australia.
This was the latest news for today. Thank you for watching UZREPORT News. Stand by.